What's this? Let me guess, were you playing another one of Aaron's games today? Oh, come on, don't lie to me. I can tell by the look on your face and all of the mud on your face that you must have been playing a game Aaron invented. What was it called? Camouflage. And what were the rules of this game? Do whatever it takes to keep yourself hidden. I see. Though I suppose the objective of the game is to make sure I can't see. Is that correct? Thought so. All right, so your best attempt at camouflage was rolling around in the mud? Well, I can't say that isn't fair. After all, if a kitten started acting with human-like intelligence when creating camouflage, well, even my children wouldn't allow that to go unnoticed. Well, of course Mikasa wouldn't, but I'm mostly referring to Aaron when I say that. Indeed. He has all of the confidence and determination to be very smart, but he lacks the actual intelligence. Oh, no, I'm not saying that he isn't smart. He's just not as smart as, say, Mikasa. He's not as observant as she is. And, much to my dismay, unlike Mikasa, Aaron completely lacks the ability to think things through before acting. He doesn't seem to realize that most actions of his will have negative consequences. Yes, that's why he comes home bruised and scraped up so often. Oh, no. He isn't exactly doing anything with the intention of causing himself harm. He's just... well, he's sticking up for his friend. Perhaps they've introduced you to him? His name's Armin. They are rather close. In fact, I think Aaron sees him as a little brother. Unfortunately, though, that leads Aaron to beat up anyone who tries to hurt Armin, which happens to be a lot of people. And that would be great, I wouldn't mind that whatsoever, if it didn't result in both of them needing to see my husband about their battle wounds, as they call them. Yes, I'm afraid the only reason they haven't lost any of their limbs yet is because Mikasa always shows up to save them. Well, Armin tends to be a bit more soft-spoken, and he tends to take the beatings without fighting for himself, so I doubt he would lose a limb, but Aaron might lose an eye. Oh, goodness, I have lost count completely of how many times I have had to lecture Aaron about being more careful. No, of course not. I would never ask that he stop sticking up for a friend. It's just... when he ends up getting hurt even worse, that is where I draw the line. That is when my protective, motherly side takes over, and honestly, I want to wring those boys' necks. Oh, dear, no, that isn't what I meant at all. I'm not referring to Aaron and Armin. I meant the boys who always seem to pick on them. Those boys. Oh, goodness, the things that I would do to them if only they were legal. Yes, I am probably considering murder right now, but can you blame me? They are so important to me, you know? Aaron, Armin, Mikasa, they are all my children. And I know that Armin has a family of his own, and Mikasa did come from a different family, but they're all here so much. They're always around me, asking for things and wanting to show me things and include me in their games. It's hard to remember that they aren't all mine, you know? Well, it is a bit different with you. You see, when I took in Mikasa, I had already known her parents for quite a while. My husband had been checking in on them regularly, and I knew her parents, I knew about her, I had never met her, but I did know a few things about her and her family. You, on the other hand, I didn't know a thing about you when I first met you, and I certainly didn't know anything about your family. Even now, there's still so much that I just don't know. And of course, if you don't want to tell me anything about your family, I won't force you to. After all, I know that you were living in harsh conditions. You didn't have a family to take care of you. No matter what the circumstances were that led to that, I won't force you to talk about it unless you want to. Even then, it wouldn't technically be forcing you if you want to, but you know what I mean, right? All right, good. And it's different with you as well because, well, I met you myself. I wasn't introduced to you by someone else, be it my husband or my son. And that makes things a bit different. It makes it so much easier to forget that, well, that you aren't truly my child. I still view you as my family, of course, and I'm happy to take care of you as your mother, but of course you understand that I didn't. I'm sorry. What? Is that what Aaron and Mikasa think? Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I certainly need to have a talk with my husband about what is and isn't appropriate for our children's age. No, sweetie. It isn't exactly bad that they believe that's where babies come from, but it's certainly very problematic if we're going to explain things in more detail as they get older. You see, babies aren't delivered by storks, as they believe. Where do babies come from, then? Well, let me put it this way. I won't go into too much detail since, you're still very young, and I don't want you to be disturbed at all by it or develop an unhealthy, negative opinion toward it. Of course, I'm not saying that it's wrong for you to have a negative opinion toward having children. After all, it's your life, live it how you please, but I don't want to cause that negative reaction if that's what you end up having. In order to make a baby, a female individual and a male individual need to be involved. Why am I specifying that? Well, you see, because it doesn't always have to be a mother and a father raising a child. It needs to be a man and a woman creating a child, but it doesn't need to be mother and father raising the child. Yes, exactly. So a child could have 2 mothers, 2 fathers, only a mother, only a father. It could be anything. But I do specify that it needs to be someone with a male body and someone with a female body making the child. Basically, a woman has a cell in her body that can produce half of the child's genetic makeup, and the father has the other half. Yes, so there is a certain activity that the man and the woman partake in, and that allows the man to relinquish his cell, which then joins with the woman's cell, and the cell then grows and develops inside of the woman's womb, which is located right here. Yes, it is rather close to the stomach, which is why when someone is pregnant, their belly gets a lot bigger. Have you ever seen someone who's pregnant? I thought so. Well, that's where the baby develops, And then, when it's time for the baby to be born... Well, there are multiple ways for a baby to be born. Perhaps the one that would be less traumatizing for you would be a cesarean section. And what that means is, and this is going to sound a lot worse than it really is, the woman's belly is cut open. No, I told you it sounds worse than it is. Because the womb is right beneath her skin, and because the skin is so tight on her stomach, it allows the knife to cut through very easily, and there is little to no damage done if it's done correctly and there aren't any complications. Yes, I did talk about this with my husband when I was pregnant with Aaron, and he went into a delightful amount of medical detail, which I am now relaying to you. You're still all right with me explaining this, right? Of course. Ask me anything. Could I tell Aaron and Mikasa about this? Well, I suppose that I could, but I don't exactly understand why you want me to tell them this. It'll give them something else to be afraid of. What are you talking about, sweetie? Are they scared of something? Oh, you plan to... Okay, well, thank you for telling me what you're planning to do. Okay, well, I guess whenever you're ready to do that, just let me know immediately before so that I can be there in case they have any questions. Yes, of course, dear. I'll leave all of the explanation to you unless they ask me in particular something about perhaps how I found you, why I decided to take you in, stuff like that. Yes, of course. Of course we can do it tomorrow. Would you like to do it in the morning, in the afternoon? Afternoon. All right, well, that does sound like a good idea. Of course, what else? You'd like Armin to be there, too. Well, I suppose that does make sense, since once Aaron hears about this, he's probably going to want to brag about it to Armin. Oh, no, sweetheart, you don't have to worry about that. He won't tell anyone you aren't comfortable with. But he definitely will tell Armin whether you're okay with it or not. Yes, they are just like brothers. Oh, indeed, he's certainly going to be happy to have someone else to consider a sibling. He was always rather lonely. He was an only child for so long, and then when he met Armin, something just clicked. They've been best friends ever since. And then, of course, when he met Mikasa... Yes, those two are thick as thieves, closer than two birds in the same nest. Yes, all three of them have a very, very special bond. And it's only going to grow stronger as they grow older. I can feel it. And I have a feeling that they'll form a similar bond with you once they realize what you are. And you'll grow closer and closer as the years go on. And then, one day, if you all decide to have families of your own, or even if just a few of you do, or even just one, you'll someday be telling them about all of the adventures you had, and you'll have to stop yourself from saying that you were all related, because you'll forget. You'll be so close that you won't even realize you aren't related by blood. But of course, blood isn't what makes a family here. Especially not in this household. Now, before we go into more detail about how you plan to tell them, how about we get a bath started for you?